Happy Wednesday and welcome back to the Shelby Show, a show for agents to learn about optimizing your time, developing your skill sets, and creating a business you love. Hit subscribe if that's something you're into. Today, we are diving into my #1 favorite real estate investing strategy. It is called the BRRRR Strategy. And by the end of this video, you will understand what it is, why someone would want to do it, and most importantly, how to do it. You'll be able to assist investor clients in using this strategy, or better yet, freaking do it yourself. Because nobody wants to be an agent forever, and one of the best ways to get off the hamster wheel of a commission-based income is by investing in real estate. Ready? Let's hit it. What is a BRRRR? The acronym stands for Buy, Rehab, Rent, Refinance, Repeat. Yo, but what does that even mean? It's where you or your client buys a distressed property that no one else will touch. This thing is gross and needs a ton of work to make it livable. Then you rehab it until it's up to date and worth far more than when you purchased it and would be lovely to live in. So you find a nice tenant and you rent that sucker out. But at this point, all your money to buy and rehab the property is still tied up in that house. You are freaking broke because that is expensive. What can you do? You can go to your bank and explain how you have this pretty freshly rehabbed property and ask, can I please put a new loan on it so I can recoup or cash out the funds I used to buy and rehab it? The bank goes, hell yeah, man, I got you. And you refinance the property to pull out your money and repeat the process. Another way to think about it is it's essentially like flipping the property, but you get to keep it at the end instead of selling it, which builds your portfolio and your long-term wealth. So cool, right? I know it seems obvious, but why would someone want to do this? Why not just buy a property that's already pretty and ready for a tenant? Because this seems like a lot of work, right? Well, most investors or anyone trying to invest struggle with saving up the money needed to get started. But what if you could save up that money one time and recycle those funds into multiple deals? What if you could use that same money to buy property after property? The BRRRR strategy helps you do more with less. It helps you acquire more properties with less time and money. And from the agent perspective, this is super helpful because you can do more deals with the same client. Like, how cool is it that you can take one client and do 5 deals in a year instead of just one and done? Yeah, it's not bad, right? If you agree, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Okay, so you're sold on this concept, but how do you even do this BRRRR thing? I'm gonna tell you by telling you a story. So once upon a time, back in 2018, my first year as a real estate agent, I decided to invest in real estate using the BRRRR strategy. I was out there scouring the MLS for foreclosures. I was tracking down other agents out there working with investors to pick their brains. I was making friends with wholesalers and haunting the county courthouse foreclosure list, which are all great ways to find deals. But this first deal came from the MLS. It was a HIIIII foreclosure. It was a little 3-bed, 1.5 bath, listed for $40,000, distressed but not in terrible condition. But what now? Is it a good deal? Like, how do I even know? So, step 1 was calculating the after repair value, or ARV. This is what it will be worth after the rehab is complete by pulling comps and running a normal CMA based on what the property will look like after it's fixed up. I made sure to keep in mind that this property will be a rental, so I'm not comping it with flips. This is an average, clean, serviceable home for average Joe and his family. This particular property's ARV came in at $100,000, which leads us to step 2. Multiply $100,000 by 75%. Why, Shelby, what? Why 75%? Well, it's because I knew that when I went to refinance that property a couple months down the road, after that rehab is complete and the property is rented out, my lender would only let me cash out 75% of that new value. So I took $100,000, I multiplied it by 75%, and that became my budget. I had $75,000 to work with to do everything else. And since I already knew that the purchase price was $40,000, step 3 was to figure out how much that renovation would cost. The other big ticket item that I needed to fit within that budget. So I called my contractor and I asked him to walk the property with me. I explained that I wanted the property to be durable, tenant-proof, nice but not too nice for the neighborhood, and his quote came in at a nice $25,000. Great, awesome. $75,000 budget minus $40,000 purchase price minus $25,000 rehab. I'm golden, man. I even got 10 G's to spare. But wait, I know I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, what about those not so obvious costs you need to consider? Hit like and subscribe to catch my weekly videos on things to consider in real estate. Which leads us to step 4, thinking through all the things you need to consider, such as costs associated with the project that are not so obvious. I'm talking about that upfront home inspection, the termite inspection, closing costs on that initial purchase, holding costs, those monthly utilities, lawn care, loan fees that you paid while that home was held and being rehabbed. Or how about the closing costs on the refinance? Or maybe property management startup fees. Okay, fine. Those 10 G's I thought I had to spare, bye. But still golden. Let's go. But wait. There's one more last major factor I needed to consider when deciding if this was a good deal for me. Step 5. How much would it rent for? If the end state is a rental property, I should probably care. So I hit up my property manager, I explained the location of the property, the criteria, what rehab I had planned, and they let me know that I could expect to get $1,000 a month in rental income. According to the 1% rule, if my property would rent for 1% of its value, then it's good to go. Note, run your numbers with more detail than just the 1% rule. The 1% rule is a rule of thumb, but you should dig deeper. Drop a comment below if you want a copy of my BRRRR calculator guide. But still golden, let's put that offer in. And so I did. I submitted an offer and we went under contract. Over the next couple weeks, I locked down my acquisition financing, which for me personally was a combination of cash, lines of credit, private money, and then I locked down my refinance lender for down the road. It is super important to communicate the entire plan with your refinance guy up front because lenders often have specific rules such as seasoning periods, minimum loan requirements, or having a tenant in place for a couple months before allowing you to recoup your money. It's way better to understand the rules up front before you jump in rather than after. I also had a home inspection and termite inspection, and I submitted the results of those to my contractor to ensure the rehab quote didn't need to be modified. I communicated the closing timeline with my contractor to ensure he could start immediately after closing, get on his calendar. So we closed, the rehab began, and the key is to stay on your contractor's ass. I would absolutely recommend having a weekly walkthrough at a minimum, and if you have issues, clearly communicate them. What you allow will continue is one of my favorite phrases. If a project goes south, you need to start by blaming yourself. As the rehab was wrapping up, I contacted my property manager to give him a heads up that a new rental was coming soon so they could prep their back-end work. I also told them that I'd have more properties coming and asked if we could negotiate a discount on their monthly management fee, depending on how many doors of mine they manage. They said yes. For 1 to 5 doors, they managed at 10% a month, 6 to 10, 9%, 11 to 15, 8%, and 16 plus, 7%. And you're damn right that all of my long-term rentals are now managed at 7% monthly. The answer is always no unless you ask. And just a note, if you want to self-manage your rental properties, like, subscribe, and drop a comment below and I'll send you my tools and checklists on how to do this. Okay, once that tenant was in place, the income started coming in. I called my refinance lender to get the ball rolling. Fast forward 30 days and I had pulled out all the money that I'd put into this project, established a long-term 30-year fixed loan, and was ready to do the whole BRRRR process again. Got it? Ready to go do it with your clients or for yourself? Freaking thought so. Also, full disclosure, this story was actually a compilation of many of my different experiences with the BRRRR strategy, but I wanted to make the numbers super easy for you guys to prove the point. So, if you got anything from this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you want to learn. I am still figuring this shit out, and it is painful. So, if you like it, give me some love, please. If you don't like it, I have no words. I got nothing. Anyway, I will still be here next week. I've committed to all of 2022. So, see you next Wednesday.